that of governor, but we have other secondary state offices. We have all 6 congressional districts have races tomorrow. There are a number of legislative races. I think there are 10 state Senate seats at stake and 34 House seats tomorrow. So certainly there are plenty of issues and candidates to attract the interest of every Oklahoman.
Everything set on your end?
I hope. If it's not set now, we're in trouble.
We're in trouble. It's cold. It's getting colder. We've got a lot of women. We've got children. We've got people that are depending on us, and we got to keep our doors open. And we don't want them to go out there and freeze. I'll do anything to keep it open.
Action 4 was the only news team at the Bill Bishop watch party when he made the hardest announcement a politician can make.
Of course, we don't have all the final precincts in, but we have enough in to know where we're at, and we've lost the race because there's no way with the lead that Buchanan has that we can catch up.
Supporters of the Democrat thought for sure their candidate would be the new District 2 Oklahoma County Commissioner because of a heavy voter turnout. But disappointment quickly wiped hope off the faces of the people here as early returns came in.
The time and effort and all.
Republican incumbent F.G. Buck Buchanan, on the other hand, was celebrating at his watch party. Buchanan has been the District 2 County Commissioner for the last 16 months and feels his record is what got him reelected.
We've done more road building and bridge building in Oklahoma County has been done in the last 5 or 6 years.
As for District 3, Republican Fred Snyder dropped by the Buchanan watch party after learning he was ahead of Democratic challenger E.L. Pete McBroom. Snyder, also an incumbent, is confident enough precincts are in to smell victory. Even though McBroom is still behind, he is not giving up. Snyder credits his early lead to his performance as a county commissioner.
Well, for the county, we've saved them over $500,000. We have tightened up the administration down there. We've certainly improved the roads in my district. I have now completed 5 bridges, and we have lots of road work done, and I think we're doing more than's ever been done.
The race for District 1 Oklahoma County Commissioner saw Democratic candidate Shirley Darrell's watch party starting off very slow. Darrell is running against independent Bill Maher and Republican Robert Burns. But as the returns came in, it was obvious Darrell was going to be the big winner, and her family was on hand to enjoy the victory. All the candidates plan to watch the election results late into the night, just in case the numbers change one way or another. Ed Stewart, Action 4.
When Oklahoma became a state, the people of Guthrie thought they were a shoo-in for the capital. The finest architects were brought to town so that each building would be a salute to the new state. But as fate would have it, Oklahoma City would be given the final honor, and the people of Guthrie remained bitter for years. Now the town residents feel fate may have been on their side. History has left them a landmark on every street and a pride only the people of Guthrie can have. Their town is the largest historical district in the country. The community and its proprietors are working together to keep that title. They're sprucing up all the old buildings and reopening those that haven't been used for years. The Victor Building was once the finest commercial structure in Guthrie. Now, almost 100 years later, it'll be the finest mall in town.
Guthrie is embarking on a new age, a new frontier, and I think you're going to see this as a major area of the state of Oklahoma and in the region for shopping, and people will desire to live here because of the quality of life.
Many will want to live here because of new jobs. There are more than 100 openings in the mall alone, so the new Old Guthrie will be an economic gold mine. The town is paving the way for construction contributors by promising to add brick sidewalks, parking lots, and antique street lamps where work is done. Together, Guthrie's future will be in yesterday. Sherry Sellers, Action 4 in Guthrie.
The current stink over Oklahoma City sanitation plants isn't over the smell, but possible city council corruption. In the past 5 years, the city has built numerous sewer lines and 2 new sewage plants, Deer Creek and Chisholm Creek. Both plants were constructed by the same firm, a firm owned by Fred J. Spitz. Since 1978, Spitz has received almost 25%, $6 million, of the city's engineering contracts. Those contracts are reportedly now the focus of a government probe. 4 federal agencies are investigating the Oklahoma City Council's method of awarding non-bid architectural and engineering contracts, specifically contracts to Spitz and firms with personal ties to now former Councilman Bill Bishop. 5 years ago, the City Council voted to lift all restriction policies from architectural and engineering contracts, stating that the cheapest firm isn't always the best. But that move wasn't wise, according to Mayor Patience Latting. Latting says the council has set themselves up for corruption.
And under the system under which we operate today, it is possible for there to be abuse of the assignment of the contracts. We have to wait and see what is to develop, but it would not be, I think, too surprising if something should be turned up that might involve wrongdoing of some kind.
Latting says under the current no restriction policy, the council can make legal but unethical decisions. Debbie Mash, Action 4.
Television and radio stations have to sell advertisements to raise revenue, but the stations haven't paid sales tax on that revenue. Now former State Senator Finis Smith says the stations owe hundreds of millions of dollars to the state and to cities. Smith has written a letter to the Oklahoma Tax Commission. He relies on a 1979 Attorney General's opinion that exempted the print media, but not radio and TV, from paying sales tax. The tax code wasn't amended until 1980 to extend the exemption to the electronic media. In his letter, Smith asked the Commission to, quote, implement immediate action to ascertain and collect unpaid sales tax revenues owed for radio and television prior to the 1980 Code Amendment. The Vice Chairman of the Tax Commission says Smith is probably wrong. Bob Wadley relies on a joint resolution of the Oklahoma Legislature passed January 30th, 1980. The resolution says the Commission, quote, shall refrain from imposing or collecting sales taxes based on sales of advertising by radio, television, or other electronic media for a period of 6 months.
I think very candidly that Finis has missed the joint resolution. Joint resolutions have all the power of law. They are signed by the governor and sent to the Secretary of State and the whole bit.
Shortly after passing the joint resolution, the legislature passed the electronic media exemption, and Wadley says that applies retroactively to the period before 1980. So TV and radio stations may be safe as far as the Tax Commission is concerned. But Smith said in his letter, if the commission didn't act, he would consider filing a taxpayer suit on his own. Bill Ross, Action 4.
There is no doubt about it. The Pottawatomie Jail needs improvement. The building was constructed in 1932 and has not seen many improvements through the years. Besides being old, the building is too small. There have been many times in the last few years when overcrowding has become a problem.
If we have several murder suspects or, let's say, hardcore criminals up there, it's not a good idea to put them in with a non-violent type inmate and do the overcrowding. Sometimes it has to be. I don't know that they can't close it down altogether. If they do, I don't know where we're going to put them. As I said a while ago, we can't very well chain them to a tree or something, and crime's not going to stop. We've got to have some place to put them.
There is also a manpower shortage. There are only 5 deputies to police the entire Pottawatomie County area. And to add to that problem, there has been an increase in crime lately. So far, the county has been able to come up with enough funds to keep the jail barely above the minimum requirements. But there could be brighter days ahead. Sheriff Abel's #1 priority is to get the jail back in shape before it gets too late. Kevin Ogle, Action 4 in Shawnee.
It will probably be months before the governor's November spending cuts are felt in state education. Although it's a sizable cut, $5 million between common schools and higher education, the verdict on how to handle spending won't come in until July, when allocations for this fiscal year expire. And since the governor has cut all state spending on a month-by-month basis, officials at the Department of Education are baffled. Where will spending be reduced?
It's very difficult to make any kind of certain plans. About the only thing we can do at this point is to advise the schools that they should start operating a very conservative program and cut back anything unnecessarily.
Okay, what you need to do is you need to have a notebook.
The big question on the minds of public school teachers in Oklahoma deals with salaries. Obviously, Governor Nye says salaries will not be affected, but the Department of Education is taking a wait-and-see attitude.
We can't say at this point, you know, it'll have effect on teacher salaries. We have a projected amount that it's going to cost us, you know, for the teacher salary increase money. All we can do is wait until we see how much of a cut that we're going to have.
Keep in mind the budget cut only applies for November. That is until the governor's office reevaluates revenues for the December allocation. If they're not up to par, then once again next month, the state schools, public and university level, could lose millions. Dan Slocum, Action 4.
With additional hours past that, there are 500. There were only teachers there from Central.
Due to the hostility and the fact that my daughter...
The staff of Central Elementary School feel very strongly
that the education of the children of Moore is the sole purpose of the classroom, and we will not allow outside occurrences to interfere with the education process in any manner. The teachers of Moore Central Elementary are professionals and feel Mr. Montgomery's statement has impugned their professionalism and their integrity. The Moore Association of Classroom Teachers has given Mr. Montgomery a resolution from the representative assembly of that body.
I decided that if he felt the games were hazardous to your health, I might as well put stickers on the games, somewhat like you'd find on cigarette packages. We haven't had any problems with people getting violent or having nightmares from playing video games, but just in case they may, I feel it's only fair to my customers to warn them of the risks. When he makes statements like that, actually have some type of study done before he makes a statement of that magnitude that can affect an industry the way it could affect ours.
The Beverage Industry Recycling Program is the first organized effort in the state of Oklahoma to provide the people of Oklahoma with a network of recycling centers, a convenient receiving station for both glass and aluminum.
Oklahoma is now a state!
This day started with a gunshot. That made it like so many big days in Oklahoma history. The land run of 1889, the announcement of statehood in 1907, and now Statehood Day in Guthrie.
And the state of Oklahoma deemed admitted by the Congress into the Union.
75 years ago, Charles Filson, the Secretary of Oklahoma Territory, stood on these same steps at the Carnegie Library. He read the presidential proclamation admitting Oklahoma as the 46th state.
Signed, President Theodore Roosevelt.
Mr. Oklahoma, you take this Indian princess to be your lawful and wedded wife, one in corporate, and promise to cherish and defend her through all eternity?
I do.
And just like 75 years ago, there was a mock wedding between a radiant bride representing Indian Territory and Mr. Oklahoma Territory. Senator David Boren presided, much as Reverend W.H. Dotson had done in 1907.
Then by the authority vested in me, I pronounce you man and wife, one in corporate, through all eternity.
On November 16, 1907, an Oklahoma governor took the oath of office. Now there's a diamond link between the state's first governor, Charles Haskell, and the 23rd, George Nye.
No star shines brighter than the 46th star, the state of Oklahoma, in 1982.
Today's parade down Oklahoma Street followed the parade route of 75 years ago. For one Sooner who turned 75 the same day as her home state, today's ceremonies made her realize how far the state has come.
Back in the oil boom, we had muddy streets where, you know, where the mules would be pulling the wagons and get stuck on the streets, but it's not that way anymore.
Now Oklahoma marches toward the next day that will begin with a gunshot. The centennial celebration on November 16th, 2007. See you there. Bill Ross, Action 4 in Guthrie.
The uniforms look a bit different, and the players are larger and faster. But the enthusiasm is the same today as it was 75 years ago. Then, on the day when Oklahoma finally became a state, Governor Haskell ceremoniously kicked off the game ball to start the Logan County, Oklahoma A&M football game. Today, over 1,000 people showed up in Guthrie to watch the reenactment.
Oh, it's exciting, not only because it's historical, but it's exciting because it's, this is football country. Logan County cut its teeth on football at statehood, and it still does. We're in between the two great universities, and we've had some great high school teams.
The final score in 1907 was 10-0, Logan County over A&M. But nobody was really interested in the score today. It was just a nice way to remember a little Oklahoma history. Kevin Ogle, Action 4 in Guthrie.
We're going to be suing for an unlawful battery upon each child that was touched. We're going to be suing for an unconstitutional invasion of privacy. We're going to be suing for infliction of emotional distress upon the children.
Here's Topol, the smoker's tooth polish that helps remove all kinds of superficial tobacco stains.
This is a commercial that encourages smoking. And this is a commercial that tells you to quit.
To help you quit, they'll give you a Larry Hagman special stop smoking wrist snapping red rubber band. Every time you feel like smoking, snap this instead.
The American Cancer Society here in the city is getting the word out for people to put out their cigarettes by midnight tonight. Tomorrow, the Cancer Society will provide a hypnotist to visit an area hospital as one resort for people who can't seem to quit on their own.
Get rid of the cigarettes. The temptation to smoke cigarettes can be very minimal if the cigarettes are not around the house or not around, period. The second thing that a person can do mentally is to really think about the reasons they want to stop smoking.
There have been 129,000 new cases of lung cancer this year. 85% of those are directly related to smoking. A number of people quit because of health reasons, others quit because it's too expensive, and others quit because they had to. Bill Robertson had his voice box removed 2 years ago. After 30 years of smoking and a bout with cancer, Bill decided it was time to give it up. He thinks smoking is directly responsible for his troubles.
Well, I had the cancer, and then they had to remove everything. And a lot of it was due to smoking.
This is what a lung looks like after heavy smoking. It's black, just like something that has been burned. A healthy lung should be rose in color. So remember, when you try to quit tomorrow, millions of other people will be joining you. The physical withdrawal should last a couple of days. The psychological effects only you can deal with. Bella Shaw, Action 4.
Most of the problems that people have relating to stopping smoking have to do with the psychological problems. The physical withdrawal is easy, really. If you go through a couple of days, you're through the physical withdrawal. But the psychological withdrawal and the psychological effects can linger on for many years. So if an individual deals with the psychological effects early on, as soon as they stop smoking, then of course they don't have to deal with it for the rest of their lives. It really doesn't relax you. And cigarettes and the way, so that 6 months from now or a year from now you won't. I mean, I just didn't even wear it. When you stop smoking, and if you start feeling some physical withdrawal symptoms within the next few hours or the next few days, that's positive. I want you to accept that. That's very positive. It means your body is changing very rapidly. But as you develop that concentration, you're going deeper and deeper, totally relaxed in every way. You're tapping your own potential, and you're going to use that potential from now on, especially in the area of stopping smoking. This new pattern in your life is going to be filled with your confidence. Confidence in every area of your life, especially in the area of using your control. Controlling the desire, controlling the cigarettes. You have the control now. You're going to use it. Because you're a former smoker. You're a non-smoker right now. You're an ex-smoker. You used to smoke. You used to have that habit. It's still very close to you, but it's being dissolved. That habit is being...
When we arrived at tribal headquarters in Wewoka last night, it looked more like a fort than an office complex, with armed guards manning the locked front gate. Inside the complex, many Seminole hold a watch, protesting the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Last week, the complex was riddled with bullets the Seminoles say came from the Bureau of Indian Affairs building across the street. Seminole official Alan Miller says the BIA is using force to take over the tribal building.
We're concerned that, they will use violence as a means to, gain access to the building and control of the tribal property. This was really sobering when they opened fire on us last week, and since then we've taken a lot of precaution with women and children here.
When we contacted the BIA today about the Seminole camping out inside their headquarters in protest, the superintendent of the BIA refused to comment on the entire matter because much of the case is now in litigation. In regard to last week's shooting, the BIA says no comment will be made until a law enforcement investigation is complete. Dan Slocum, Action 4.
Nobletown is a low-income, predominantly black community of about 400. Even in the best of times, it's a struggle for this area to make ends meet. Fire has claimed their schoolhouse, and a problem with insurance may force this school to shut down. The problem started in August when a fire of unknown origin burned the Nobletown schoolhouse to the ground. Members of the community say the old school never met fire safety codes and was due to be demolished anyway. But today, the 52 children ranging from grades 1 through 8 get their education here, in 2 portable buildings, structures that are cold in the winter and unbearably hot in the summer. The school board believes that a new schoolhouse will cost about $125,000. That's a long way away from the $2,300 in the community's building fund. The Nobletown School Board is yet to see a $32,000 insurance check from last summer's fire. And until that money arrives, there is little hope for a new school.
I don't have any idea. I've been communicating with my insurance agency, which is Mr. Wilbanks Harrison in Wewoka, and they haven't given me a definite reason why we haven't received the money for the insurance loss. It's been 3 months, so I couldn't give you a definite answer now.
The status of the Nobletown insurance money is still up in the air. The insurance agent in Wewoka tells the board the money is on the way. But even if that $32,000 does come through, it won't be enough to build a new school. And the lack of funds in this small community puts the future of Nobletown's school system in real jeopardy. In Seminole County, Kurt Autry, Action 4.
I think it gives you a chance to, for me it gave me a chance to stop, become less involved with what's going on outside and take a look at myself, what I was doing to myself, what I was doing to other people, what I needed to change.
I-25. This is a straight bingo, guys. G53.
The legal fees will be expensive, but this will go a long ways in helping. We hope to raise probably $2,000 to $3,000 here today, and if it does, well then of course that'll just be that much that we won't have to come up with later on. So we are real appreciative of it.